Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Easter Pod. I'm your host, Corey Easterday, and on this episode, we are chatting with an incredible musical act all the way from my birthplace, my beloved Northeast Ohio, the one and only 1402. 1402 is a band based in Akron, Ohio, which I have a lot of fondness for, as if you've listened to previous episodes, you're fully aware, being an Ohio boy that I am. And as you'll hear in the episode, 1402 is made up of four amazing, really great dudes that three of which I had the pleasure of meeting for the first time around the time we record this interview. That would be Christian, Joel, and Lip. Really incredible dudes. And the fourth is my longtime friend from Canton, Ohio, the one and only John King. John and I go way, way back. You'll hear it in our conversation. I won't spoil it up top, but a very long history between John and I. Played music together. My wife, Megan, knows John from way back in the day, even before John and I ever met. So it was really cool to be able to sit down with all four of these guys. And, you know, I don't want to be presumptuous, but even though I just met Christian, Joel, and Lip when they came through Charlotte on tour in February when we recorded this conversation, I think 10 years from now, when I'm still recording episodes of the Easter Pod, I'll look back and we'll have the guys on again. It'll be four of my longtime friends. I feel that good. I'm willing to be presumptuous about that. We had a really great time, and it was a great conversation. If you love the local music scene, if you love great music, great bands, or you just want to get to know some incredible musicians, hear some tricks of the trade, learn about how they approach their craft, this is the episode for you. As always, thank you for listening to the show, for supporting the podcast, and be sure to check out truly all our episodes. I know I'm biased, but I feel like every single episode is a banger, as the kids say. Had so many great guests on, but especially be sure to check out our most recent, our last episode with Jason Allen King. Jason is a professional comedian based here in Charlotte, and we had a super hilarious, very fun chat about all things stand-up comedy. Jason and I got connected through the stand-up comedy class that he teaches at Comedy Arts Theater of Charlotte, and thanks to Jason, I've finally been able to pursue the dream of stand-up comedy. I love comedy. I've been wanting to do it my whole life. I have clips of the graduation show that I did through his class that I've been posting on social media at the Easter Dude and at Corey Easterday on X. You can check those clips out if you want to see the stand-up comedy in action. I'm going to keep working at it, keep it going. It feels like a great fit, and it would be a great fit. You know, most comedians have a podcast. Here we are. I already have the podcast. The podcast first, comedy second, a little bit backwards, but I think it would be a great addition to the Corey Easterday creative, way too busy, doing way too many things repertoire. But it was so cool to connect with Jason and chat and get to share his story. And he's just a super talented, funny, amazing comedian and human. And I think you'll really, really enjoy that conversation and hearing all about the art of stand-up comedy from Jason Allen King. Be sure to follow the show on social media, all social media platforms at the Easter Pod, and subscribe on your podcast platform of choice so that you never miss an episode. Leave a rating review on Apple and Spotify. Be sure to share the podcast with friends. All of that engagement on social media, leaving ratings and reviews, sharing with folks, all of it really helps the show. We just, as of this recording, are up over 3,500 downloads for the 29 episodes we've done to this point. That number just keeps growing every day. And you know what? I'm not ashamed to admit that I check the stats pretty frequently. I put my heart and soul into this show, and we've had a lot of people behind the scenes, and the guests that have come on put their heart and soul into it as well. And so all that to say, it's just really encouraging to see you folks out there listening, engaging with the show, getting into it, enjoying the interviews. It's always really positive feedback. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm a creative. Anyone that's a creative out there listening, you know how it goes. I know that the healthy thing that we try to do is to not check those things at least very frequently to just have that freedom to create, like I talk a lot about on this show. But sometimes it's just, I'm a words of affirmation guy. So sometimes it's just nice to feel validated through some of that stuff and to know that this work is not in vain and that this podcast is achieving in many ways the mission that Easterday Creative and the Easter Pod joining forces, the goal of bringing you stories of rad humans who inspire you to engage the world with creativity and hope. That's the goal. We're bringing you those stories. You're listening. You're loving it. And I really appreciate all the feedback and interaction with the show. The support truly, truly means a lot to myself and all the guests that come on. So before we dive in, just a couple last shout outs. Want to shout out Easterday Creative. You can follow us at Easterday Creative on Instagram. Check out easterdaycreative.com. Special thanks to my friends Speak Seldom for creating the music for this episode, and to my guy JD Laird and his company Token for helping to produce this episode. You can check out Token's work by visiting tokencreative.co. And, of course, as always, want to plug the guests. 1402 is incredible. Want you to get connected with them. You can check out 1402 on all social platforms. It's funny, my show notes here, I misspelled Instagram. It says Instagram. Don't go to Instagram. That's a fake site. That's not real. You can go to Instagram, which is real. Instagram and Twitter, or X, whatever. Instagram, X, Facebook, at 1402 band. Check out 1402, all the socials. They have a link tree that I'm going to put in the show notes, and you can go to that link tree for their upcoming shows, all that good stuff, finding ways to get connected. And also on that link tree are all the links where you can listen to 1402. They're a band. Listen to their music. Check it out. Support them. They have great songs, great music. I love listening to 1402. I'm glad I was introduced to them through this tour, through this episode. So listen to 1402 on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you listen to music. Without further ado, my conversation with 1402. So I think this episode is officially starting a trend with the Easter Pod, asking musician friends of mine who are on tour playing in Charlotte if they would be gracious enough to spend some of their time to jump on the pod with me while they're in town. And I'm honored, very honored to have with me today. So a couple things. So I have my very dear and longtime friend all the way from Canton, Ohio, John King. And as a special treat, John is a part of this amazing band called 1402 from the Akron area, and we got 1402 on the pod today as well. So this is officially the most guests I've ever had in the studio. There's 5 of us. It's going to be a great time. John and 1402, they are excellent musicians, all around great human beings. I know that of John. Just met these guys last night, but they seem like the coolest dudes on the planet. So John King and 1402, welcome to the Easter Pod. How are you all doing today?
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, really excited to have you guys. I love it. Yeah, it's great. There's a bunch of us.
Response.
Yeah. Well, good. Okay, so just to help our audience, because we're doing a little video, but this audio format. Don't want to forget that. So I'm just going to have each of you do like a quick introduction so people kind of know the voice with the person.
Yeah. So I'm John King. Corey and I go way back. Been friends for a long time. And I've been following the podcast for a long time too. And I'm a big fan. I'm a songwriter from Canton, Ohio. I manage a coffee shop that my wife owns, which is awesome. That's my day job. And at night I play music in bands. So I play guitar for Christian's band, 1402. And I have my own band called Shame Chamber. And a lot of these guys are in that band as well, or play in that band. So all these guys have. So yeah, we all kind of help each other with each other's projects. And yeah, this is our tour that we're on. This is the 4th show of the tour. And yeah, We're in Charlotte. It's awesome. Really excited for the show tonight.
I did not think we were doing monologues.
That's just
That was just gonna be.
that's
I
part
mean, he
of
said
me,
introduction.
then-
Yeah, that's a good introduction. I'm Joel. I play bass in 1402. Christian and I go way back, like Chicago days. So that's kind of how 1402 started, more or less. But yeah, I'm just a dude. That's about it.
Very talented musician.
Oh, coming in hot. Here's another dude. My name is Christian. I play guitar and sing in 1402. I met John like a year ago when he played Shame Chamber at my house venue. And I met Corey last night when he let us stay at his house. And yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having us here.
Yeah, of course.
I'm Lip. I play drums for 1402. Not at the same house venue, but I had seen and met 1402 at a different house venue in Akron. Different band I was playing in, shared a bill with them. And at the time, it was just John and Joel and Christian, and I was just blown away. Mostly because Christian was playing drums and singing all these songs. I was like, oh my God.
For this genre, let's just say very impressive.
Very, very involved performance.
Yes.
Just for the listeners, I'm rolling my eyes really hard.
Oh,
I'm rolling.
Don't roll your
roll
eyes.
some R's.
Audible eye roll not allowed. No, I was honestly taken aback, and just like John's creativity and like soundscapes just like really took me away from everything and like pulled me into the set. And Joel's just energy is kind of unmatched with like pretty much anyone I've played with.
Performance wise, yeah.
Definitely like brings a lot of life to his own instrument and then like all the other music. And I just like walked up to Christian like as soon as they were done. I was like, dude, if you ever need a tambourine player, a guitar player, an extra bass player, like you need anything, like please let me know. I really want to be in your band. And he was like, thank you. And I didn't think I'd ever hear from him again. And then, it's been like a year now. Been playing with these guys and it's been really awesome. But yeah, I'm from the Cleveland area, but I spent a lot of time in Akron with these homies and just other homies in Akron. I gotta get myself into Akron residency. We'll see.
I love it. Yeah, we're representing Northeast Ohio here today. We got Canton, Akron, Cleveland. That I cannot tell you enough how much that warms the cockles of my heart. And it's okay. This is a family show, but there can be e-tags. I don't know if cockles warrants an e-tag, but
I don't think so.
But no,
Makes us sound harder.
Yeah.
If there's an e-tag.
Exactly. Yeah, we want the e-tag. We need to.
This looks scandalous. I gotta click this episode.
Yeah, we're going for the e-tag. We're like Eminem, when he first came out. Like, we want parents to, tell their kids they can't listen to this.
People tell us that all the time. They say, you're just like Eminem.
People tell us that.
It's great to have you guys here and to be able to do this because, listeners of the podcast will know this from past interviews and guests I've had on that are also musicians in Ohio. But that was a big part of my life for a long time, is the Ohio music scene. And I was telling you guys last night a little bit, like, I just started, because when we moved here in 2018 from Ohio to the Charlotte area, I just didn't have access didn't know people, didn't have a place really to set up my drums or whatever. So it's only been over the last 6 months or so I've been able to get back playing myself. So I'm trying to avoid the cliche old guy who's like, let me tell you about when I used to be in a band, and like never actually actively creates. I'm trying to avoid that trope, but it's just good to be in this environment with you guys because the Ohio music scene just has a special place in my heart, and musicians that are in that area, and you guys are no exception. And you're down here because you're on tour, which is awesome. So I'm just going to lay out here, pass the ball. Like, tell me about tour. Maybe John will have you start, like just where have you guys played? Kind of give me the background, the context of the tour, and then, just how it's been going so far.
Yeah. So like I said before, this is my first time out on the road for more than a few days, and kind of coming late in my musical career, which is kind of funny. I've been telling people it's my first tour at 34. So I don't know. It's just it's a funny time to start, but I've always dreamed of doing this. And if I can just brag on Christian for a second. This dude, of all the musicians I've worked with, I feel like Christian has been putting himself out there the most and going for it. And when I say putting himself out there, I mean like hitting the pavement, taking risks, making stuff. Like this is one of the most active bands I've been a part of. And he's kind of relit a fire in my belly for just doing music stuff. You know, I love it. And yeah, Christian's down to clown. So it's awesome. But yeah, we started planning this tour, I don't know, like 6 months ago. Does that sound about right? And it's taken that long to book 6 dates. It's very difficult in this day and age to book your own tour. I mean, you're just kind of like trying to find venues, but you're also talking to bands, and you've got all these options of different cities to go to. We tried to, we had a general idea that we wanted to go south. And as we were figuring out places, I was trying to think in my mind of like people I knew, you know, that like at least we wouldn't know 0 people in the city in case, you know, stuff went down. So yeah, we played in Columbus, and then we played in Lexington, Kentucky. Last night we played in Asheville, North Carolina. And then after tonight in Charlotte, we'll play in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And then we're wrapping up the tour in Cleveland at a really cool venue called Happy Dog.
The Hot Dog Palace.
The Hot Dog Palace. So yeah, it's 6 shows. If you don't include our local show, we played like a few nights before tour. So it's been about 7 shows, and I'm feeling it in my body. I don't know if it's my age or just, you know, this is the first time, but yeah, it just sort of sets in this like excitement, but also exhaustion and just soreness, body soreness.
I was watching some of the Instagram videos. I mean, you guys go hard on stage, yeah? Like,
yes, we do.
Yeah,
It might have something to do with the soreness.
yeah. It's not like Christian fell and knocked over 60% of my drums on the first night of tour.
The very first night. Yeah.
I was aiming for 100%.
And to be fair, we all of us are like super energetic and rolling around on stage, you know. And on Saturday we were setting up, and Joel kept like taking the headstock of his bass and like joking like he was gonna like hit one of my cymbals. I was like, dude, they're all cheap and most of them are broken. Like, if you guys ever want to kick some stuff around, just like, I don't know, fuck it up. And they're like, yeah, okay. And no one did anything at that show, at our little hometown show in Akron. And then, you know, Monday comes around, we're playing a laundromat, and Christian just demolishes my drum set.
Oh, you asked for it.
Well, I did ask for it. It was so much fun. Like, if you watch the video back, I just have the biggest smile on my face. It's always, you know, I mean, you're a drummer, you get it. Sometimes, even if everyone's like super into it and like putting a lot of energy out, you're just kind of like in this little bubble of no one wants to come near you or like look at you kind of thing. And I don't know, like this band and the other band that I'm pretty active in, I don't really experience that. And it's been really nice because, I don't know, it gets kind of lonely back there. You're like, you know, you probably know what I'm talking
100%.
about. Like sometimes it's just like, oh, wow, no one has looked at me the entire set. I'm just back here like.
Listen, my friend, I have never felt more seen in my life than when I was on stage and my bass player would turn around and just like make eye contact. I was like, oh, I exist for these brief shining seconds.
The bar is low for drummers. If you're like, yes, the bassist is looking at me.
Yeah, no, pretty much anytime Christian's not singing, he like immediately turns around to me, and it really warms my heart, but also just like the amount of energy and passion he throws into like literally every facet of his life.
Oh, yeah.
Let alone music and performing music. It just lights me up like a Christmas tree.
Do you guys feel like that translates to the audience in terms of the live performance, how hard you're going on stage? You feel like people vibe with that?
Yeah. Joel was saying something about it a few nights ago. It's like something people will consistently tell us is how much fun we are to watch and like how much joy is like shown on stage and gets translated into the audience, which is just awesome because, you know, you want to go up there and have a good time, but like sometimes people are just like, oh, it's music, oh, it's a performance, you know, and that fun doesn't really translate sometimes. So like the fact that people will be like, you guys are so much fun. Like, you're having fun. I'm having fun because of it. It's really awesome.
We're all the type of people you can read what we're feeling just visibly. And I don't know, like, everyone here is like, they go in their separate corners, like maybe write their own stuff and like they're living in their own world. But then we get together and it's like, how do we coexist as one giant thing? And everybody here is so like not only self-aware, but like socially aware, where it's like, hey, I noticed this crazy drum fill that you did, or that guitar line's really cool. Like, and you know, I'm the bass player, like noticing what other people are like. That's just like how we all are. And it's really cool when you're able to do that during a show. Like, you just turn around and like I see Lip do this like crazy fill, and I'm like, dude, that's fucking cool. Like, sorry,
No, you're good. Or, like I said, I want to earn that E-tag.
We've done it.
I already
How many minutes in?
He brought up the E-tag.
Yeah.
Lip swore earlier.
Yeah. Okay. He already broke the bubble, so we're E-tagging it up, baby. You're good.
Cannot control myself in that realm. I apologize.
We are who we are. You can read our emotions, but also you can't.
This is the
You can't refine us.
This is the Easter pod after dark. Even though it's the afternoon. Yeah.
But yeah, like, and I don't know, like personally, like it goes back to, because when Christian and we were in another band before, and like that was the first time it was like, oh, you have to be like on your stuff, like, you know, because we played in bands with other people before. It's like, hello, like, dude, like, what are you doing? Or like, are you receiving this the same way? But yeah, like you learn way more when you're able to work with people who are in that kind of space where it's like, you're not just sitting there playing your instrument, you're coexisting with a group of people and making something special.
Yeah.
So
100%. And that's why I asked about your live performance and then the audience, how they vibe with it, because you know, when you have that chemistry together as a group, it's magical and kind of rare in bands, because like we've all played with plenty of different musicians, and just because you're in time with somebody or you know everything's tight musically doesn't mean that chemistry is always there necessarily. Like, I think you said something really profound of like being aware and seeing each other when you're like, oh, that fill you did, or like, oh, we're locked in with like, you know, I'm a drummer, so this is how I think. Apologies to you, actual music. I almost said actually. We're all musicians, but
You're a valid musician.
Don't be talking down on drummers.
I know. I'm so you know, it's years and years of just like that self-negative talk. Okay.
I mean, yeah. We've all been there.
But the point is, like, you know, I think in terms of like when the drums and bass are locked in, and you're just, you know, when you're vibing with each other and you feel that chemistry with each other, it's rare to have that on top of being musically tight and proficient and sounding good. And then I feel like what can set you apart, especially as you're on a tour like this, where I would say, I would just venture a guess, correct me if I'm wrong, that probably the majority of the places you're playing, you're introducing yourselves to the audience in some way.
Yeah.
And so that helps you. I mean, I'll pose it as a question, but I would assume that would help you like stand out and probably make for a better overall, you know, when you're doing like the post-mortem of the show, being like, oh, we had, you know, these positive interactions because we, you know, put ourselves out there and people really connected with it. I would imagine that happens.
Yeah, I would say like for sure. I think like a huge thing for us is just like honesty. You know, I think an audience can really they can know if you're up there genuinely having fun, and I think it translates with the songwriting too. Like, I don't know, it's one thing to be good or perform good, but then it's like another thing to get up there and be honest and vulnerable, and it's like just it is what it is, and I think people connect with that a lot. Hopefully, and I think that goes back to what we were saying earlier when people are like, "Oh, you're so much fun to watch," and like, you know, you can tell that y'all are just up there having fun on stage, because we genuinely are, and I don't think you can fake it. People can see right through that.
There's almost nothing worse than a like too self-serious musical act, especially in the local scene, because that it's just like, it's like the opposite of what you're going for. It's like you're kind of building a wall between you and the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Because, like, we're not rock stars. We're, 4 dudes from Northeast Ohio. I don't want to get up there and act like, I'm so cool and look at us, we're on stage,
There's a lot of sincerity. And also, I think we're trying to refine the craft each night. Like, we talk about our set, we talk about the highs and lows, and we're kind of, Christian's such a creative guy that it kind of like instigates all of us to like change our parts up a little bit or try something a little new each night. It keeps it fresh. And I think too, like we're not the kind of band that just leaves when the other bands play. Like we watch everybody that we play with. I think the bands appreciate that.
Yeah.
And it gives us ideas for new moves or new, cause like I want to be sincere, but I also want to put on a show, and I saw who we're playing with tonight, Tall Juan in Akron. He did this like karate kick in between his guitars. So he stopped playing guitar and did a karate kick and then he kept playing again. So I've been trying to pull that move out.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure at least one of us, every night since we saw him, one of us has done a karate kick.
I haven't done it during a set, obviously, because I'm sitting down. But yeah, I've been doing the karate kick.
No, my croc fell off last night. I did not have it in sports mode. I had it in leisure mode, and the croc went sailing.
No, Tall One's got a lot of, like, as someone who on occasion is like performing my own songwriting, I find it difficult to not just sit there and play my guitar
in a bubble, yeah.
In a bubble. And something I saw Tall Juan do when we were in Akron, the guy who plays guitar in Shame Chamber, so the missing member of Shame Chamber right here, CJ, dear friend of ours, we both looked at each other when he did that. I was like, I'm stealing that. Like, I'm doing that whenever.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he came down from a chorus and he like got really quiet. And he just like put his foot up on the monitor and was just like sitting there like this. And he just started playing the song. And I was like, I don't know why I love this so much, but just like the physical involvement of like, I'm all the parts of the stage.
All of me is performing.
Yeah.
Well, the other part too, like there was a part where he just went dead quiet. Like, like you could and the room was so silent. Like nobody was talking. Like the attention was focused.
You could hear a
him.
pin drop.
like that's like, cause it's like, it's a venue. It's got a bar. It's lively, that's what happens. But like the attention that everyone had on him as soon as he went quiet, like still was like, it was just like, wow.
You know what I think a key factor is to that is like to command that attention. His attention was on the audience too. Like, I think it's hard to like get out of your mindset and not think about, what's my intonation? What's my, how is my effects doing? But to try and like, it's socially awkward, but like make a visual contact with the audience, find an audience member that's digging it and just engage with them. Because like the best shows I've seen, like the singer's just like staring me down. And like, I love when they're just like, they just notice everything. Like Tall Juan the other night was like, oh, I guess like half of the audience is over here. So he just took his mic and like moved it to the other side of the stage and started playing.
Mid-set too.
Yeah. And when people feel noticed, I think they start paying attention.
Yeah.
That
was actually a piece of, sorry, Joel. That was actually a piece of advice someone gave me before my first like guitar performance when I was singing. They were like, best piece of advice I was ever given is the only piece of advice I'm going to give you is whether there's like 3 people, 5 people, 300, whatever, pick like one person to either stare at for the entire show or for the entire song. Mm-hmm. So like for me, my friend was saying this, not that I can't relate, but he's like, as a socially awkward person, I couldn't like stare at one person for the entire set. So it was like every song, I'd pick a new person in the audience to kind of like stare down. Or if I was like looking down, I'd look back at them the entire time. Or like the exit sign.
Or at least above their head.
Yeah, like not like direct eye contact or anything like that. Just like something to like involve people with,
I'm always so scared that somebody's going to think I'm like trying to hit on them or like hit on their partner, I don't know. I'm always like, I want to look at people, but also like I don't know. It's weird to make eye contact with strangers.
There's a lot of anxiety
true.
that
True.
is involved with it, but you just can't think about that stuff.
I think you have to think of it too as like you're giving them something special that they're going to remember. And I remember the bands that remembered me, that like I was a part of the show because they were noticing me, just like noticing, maybe like staring down. I think other people would kind of like leave if you stared them down, but I'm a glutton for punishment. But I think if you just notice somebody, just like give them a little, hey, what's up? Nice dance moves there.
When we played the laundromat, Christian had his phone up like against the PA speaker, and it's set up right by my bass amp. So every time I played, it just like rumbled the phone and fell over. So anytime I could like get it to stand up again, I would. And there was these two girls dancing in the corner over by where I was, and I noticed that they were looking at the phone like as it was recording, and they were like having their little moment or whatever. So I kind of like gave them like little hand motions, like looking at the camera, just being like, hey, like this is their moment or whatever. But yeah, like going back to what you said, just like kind of giving the audience like a little boost, like even though you're the one performing, like they want to be included. So
Yeah.
I think especially if you're at probably some of the venues you guys have been playing, and it's you're in a somewhat, everyone's at different stages of their musical career, but it's not I would say, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, tour, but it's not that people are going to a local show. Like that's the idea they have in mind. They're not going to see their favorite national act per se or whatever. Yeah. So it's like everything you're describing is that much more, like 10 times more important, because now you're going to turn the microphone on and be like, all right, you guys sing this part, or it's like, so staying engaged from start to finish, showing up to support the other bands, the vibe you're creating with your performance on stage, connecting with the audience in all the ways you described. It's so cool to hear you guys talk about that, because to me, those were always the things that, when I was in a band, we would try to do to set ourselves apart. You talk about fun moves. We had the spinning your bass around your entire body. We pulled that one out in the set, catching the bass.
Strap locks?
Yep, for sure.
Great.
We had my bass player and my best friend. His name's Cliff. He would get up on my kick drum and like launch himself off of it during the set. So if you ever want to try that out, there's a move for you. But
I'm good. Actually, on the way over here, we stopped at an intersection. We look over, the Burger King was being remodeled. We found the sign. We picked up a Burger King sign. The point is that when I tried to jump in the dumpster and like grab it, I already got winded. Like,
you're like, yeah.
Trying to get up. Okay. Like, so
why are we bringing this up?
No, I get it. That's a great analogy.
I get it now. Trying to do like a backflip off a kick drum. Like no thanks. Like,
listen, I'm not going to act like I've never taken a sign from its resting place to somewhere else. So
they're bigger than you think. Too. Yeah. That was kind of the miscalculation.
That's hilarious to me though, because I was like, oh, that's why they're 5 minutes out.
Yep.
Joel's in a dumpster right now.
Yeah.
Listen, I guess me and John are officially the old guys, but I've been there too, my friends. I've been there.
You guys aren't old. Come on.
That's the thing. I'm like 25, and like I was getting winded back in 20.
All right, youngin.
Like that's the thing. I feel like an 80-year-old man already, because like my body.
So no jumping off the kick drum for you.
No.
Yeah.
Joel's a factory worker, so
yeah,
he's got those long.
Yeah,
shifts.
that's actually a really funny story. The sound guy's like, "Where are y'all from?" I was like, "Oh, Akron, Canton." He's like, "Y'all work on a rubber plant?" I was like, "Actually, Joel does."
Oh my god, dude! I need to quit my job.
He was like, "Oh, I was joking," and I was like, "Yeah, that's how Joel gets fed is a rubber plant."
That's incredible. It's cool to hear you guys talk about all that, the way you're, because I don't know, I feel like, and based on some of the stories, like we won't name drop or whatever, but just some of the things you were sharing about tour when you got in yesterday, about some of the low points, I feel like the whole mindset you guys are bringing to it, unfortunately, might be a little bit more rare. And I think just creatively speaking, it's very easy to, because I went through this the whole entire time I was in a band, where it's easy to be too self-focused and too insecure, and you're always like kind of in that mindset of like, what do people think of us? And what, you're just making it all about yourself in your head constantly. I think some degree of that is like healthy and important as a creative, because you're there to perform. You're there to connect with an audience. Like you want to have self-awareness, like you talked about. You want to make sure you're thinking through all that stuff and being intentional. But for me personally, where it always got to unhealthy point is then thinking so much about that I couldn't, even though we as a band had the same values of like, all right, you want to stay for everybody's set, want to have fun on stage, want, all this stuff. I would get in my own head about it, like to where I couldn't enjoy our friends when they were playing or other people's sets, or if somebody did better than us or what. You just get in your head about it. Do you guys ever kind of struggle with that just as you're at a show, like trying to, struggling to be present and really connect in the ways you want to?
That's literally the challenge with like any art form. If you're trying to make it like your job, especially like if you're aiming for it, like it's the balance of like, okay, this is my thing. This is what I want to put my mark on through the world. But then it's also like, if I want to make money doing it, people have to like it.
It's
hard. And, I would still say like, definitely do it for yourself. Like, obviously. And if people receive, it's just kind of like, if people receive it, you'll know. And if they don't, then that's up to you to like kind of see where you want to go with it. But regardless, it's like up to you how you want to do it.
It's like a mental health thing, I think, because when you really care about the music and you care about the people you do it with, you want that to, be sustainable or to, keep working. And I think setting goals is really good, like having specific individual goals. It's hard to like not get caught up in other people's success for sure, but you got to create kind of your own markers for what success for you is, and what do you care, what do you value. And I think each band has different values, and I think ours is very like not driven by like numbers necessarily. We're not talking about like views or streams or anything like you might hear other artists bragging about. That kind of turns us off. It's like we're very motivated by the music and just being present in the moment and just doing stuff, being out there, Like, even if there was only 5 or 10 people at the gig, like, we still bring our best to it,
Yeah, I think, like, this was, like, kind of always the most important thing to me. But I had, like, two really awesome reminders of, like, what it's about for me. And kind of like John said, like, it's about the music and being present in the moment. But also for me, like, especially performing, it becomes less about the people on stage and the music itself, and it becomes more about the audience, right? So like this band's shirt that I'm wearing, Ella's Dunes, it's like 5 like world-class musicians just started a band during the pandemic. All their bands were like super inactive. They put out like an album and an EP, and like it's like the only thing they're like actively involved in. Like they're super passionate about it. I got to see them in November open up for a band I used to listen to in high school. And like 5 times during the set, the lead singer was like, "Thank you for letting us play music for you. Like, this is all we want to do. Thank you for allowing us the space to do this. We are so lucky that this is our jobs. So thank you for making that happen." And like, the other thing that reminded me of what it's all about and why I enjoy what I do. So I was talking to my boss. I'm a cook back home, and my boss used to be in a bunch of bands. And I was talking to him. I was like, "Oh, I haven't played shows in like months. I'm like really nervous." And he's like, "How long have you been playing drums?" And I'm like, "I don't know, a really long time." And he's like, "How long have you been like playing in front of people?" I was like, "Since I was 12. And he's like, "Okay, so you've been doing it for like 10 or more years, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "How long have you been in this band?" I was like, 4 years. He's like, "Okay, why are you nervous?" And I'm like, "I don't know, this and that." He's like, "Isn't playing music supposed to be fun?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "So just go and have fun with your friends." And like, you've talked about it, like the show's no longer about like you guys. It's about giving something to someone else, something they can experience, something they can remember and take home and talk to their friends about. So like, don't worry about anything else. Just like have fun and like give people that tangible art, that tangible experience. And then again, like going back to that band I saw, Ella's Dunes, just like constantly being like, "We are grateful to be here for you. So thank you for like allowing us this space to like present this art to you, play music for you." Cause like we would be doing this if you weren't here. We'd be doing it at our house or a practice space, a studio, whatnot. But getting to share it with people, it's always going to be that better thing, that like elevated experience, I feel like. So yeah, ramble over.
Not rambling at all. I love it. Everything you guys are sharing is amazing. And it's, I resonate with all of it too, because you're right that it is that balance of when you want to make your creative pursuits more professional and something you can do longer term and do more consistently, people have to like it. There is an ego piece involved where you're like, you have to promote ourselves. We have to, it can't just be all good vibes and good times. And you have to, there's like you have to work hard. You have to promote. You have to not be afraid to, think that you're awesome to a certain degree and be willing to tell people that you're awesome. And because you're like, we're trying to do this consistently and trying to, make somewhat of a living off this, or just be able to keep doing this 10 years from now or whatever the goal is, so that's involved, but it's kind of counterintuitive. And it's a lesson that I haven't fully learned, and I'll always be learning it to some degree for sure. But doing this podcast over the last 4 years and kind of all the creative pursuits I've gone after personally in my time post being in a band, and kind of missing that part is like a duality of, I miss so much about that time in life. And if I could go back and redo anything about it, it would just be exactly what we've talked about being more present, being more, having more fun, just enjoying the ride more, understanding that, it's not easily replicable as you go through life. But I'm so grateful for that time and all the mistakes that I made, or just all the lessons of, 7+ years trying to make a career in music of, just, it's all about that balance of the counterintuitive piece of creating just to create, doing it to have fun, playing music you love, doing what you enjoy, really connecting with people, all that stuff that you focus on that feels a little bit more internal than external, where it's like how you kind of comport yourself, what your values are as musicians and creatives and all that. And it feels counterintuitive because it's ironic, like to tie it together, what I've learned personally creatively doing this podcast and other pursuits that I didn't quite have down in my head earlier on was like, the more I focus on the value pieces of this and doing it because I love it and doing it to connect with other people, and like all those kind of things that aren't so much like the external success of the thing, is actually kind of how you start to have success, I think, in a lot of occasions.
Oh yeah. I mean, 100%, like, totally like what you said. I think for me personally, at least, my whole life, my happiness, it all rode on the music, right? And it was like, if, our numbers on Spotify aren't doing well, or, whatever, we're not able to do this, and that with the music, then all right, my life sucks now. And then somewhere over the last 3 years or so, there was definitely like kind of a mindset shift where it's like, I don't know, I'm doing it. And so what if we're not making money? We're out here having fun. And so what if we don't have 1 million Spotify streamers? Like, for right now, for today, I'm here with some of my best friends. Yeah. And I'm literally living the dream. Like, this is what I've dreamt about. Yeah. Yeah. Regardless of all the external factors, I think what you said, that totally rings true.
Yeah, definitely. Just like, again, going back to something I said during my ramble, it's just like, we're so lucky we get to do this. Like, in any capacity, like, a few years ago, no one knew if shows were ever going to be acceptable ever again. And I remember going through such an identity crisis because I was like, oh, well, like, shows are the only important thing to me. Like, I didn't care about recording or practice. Like, I hated practicing. Like, I just wanted to perform and like be out there and connect with people and this and that and that and that, and I was like, if I can't like play shows, like be in a room with like my band, my friends, and like an audience, like what is there to life? And that's a whole nother thing for a whole nother time. But like, we get to play shows, and like this week, like Saturday, we played a show. And we're missing our other bandmate Kira, who sings with us and just brings such a lovely, awesome creativeness and like burning passion that she carries with her. And like, I miss her a lot, but like, we got to play with her on Saturday, you know? That was our send-off. We didn't realize we were going to get to have that until like a week leading up to this. And, you know, I had a church gig on Sunday, and I got to play with some of my really good friends there too. And that was like, I will literally be playing music for like 9 days straight, just like every day at some point with a bunch of people I love. And like that, like I'm so lucky. Like I get to do the damn thing, you know, like it's all it's been about for so long. It's all I've wanted. And like I said, in whatever capacity, I get to do that, and that's just awesome.
Yeah, sorry to rub it in all the listeners' faces, but yeah, we're living our dreams.
I don't know what you're doing with your life, but
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you're not living your dream, then sorry. Sorry, we're just...
You suck. The cringe inside of me is really popping off because of my job specifically. The blue collar, just living the dream. Like I hear that all the time.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Yeah,
But,
all that. I think, well, what you guys are saying, there's something really important there too about not taking any of this for granted. And I think that it sounds like it taught you guys, like I think we're all of the same page and same mindset on all this stuff, which is really cool. And especially in regards to what we all collectively went through during the pandemic, specifically as it relates to music, of no more live shows. And, you know, you kind of get into this mindset of, are we ever, like, what's this going to look like even in the future? What's going to happen to the world? How's this, you know? And to me, it was a big lesson among many other lessons that happened during that time of just not taking things for granted, period. And I think that's something, at least for me personally, that only came with time and maturity and experience of like, that's why I look back on, I'm not really a person that like I have regrets about anything, but if I could do better, like improve myself, if I had a time machine, could do, you know, like be like, hey dude, like maybe think about it this way. It would just be that whole idea centered around not taking things for granted. Cause you keep saying the word lucky and lucky to be here, lucky to do this. It's exactly how I feel about many of the things I get to do in my life now. And I think that's a critical piece of this because nobody knows what the future holds. You know, this, I'm not going to speak this evil at all. You're going to have many more tours, but if you only ever got to do this, you know, just being present, being in the present moment and like, you know, not taking it for granted. I think it's freedom. Freedom is the word that comes to mind because it's like you just want to have that freedom to create and freedom to enjoy it and freedom to enjoy your time together. So this is all spot on. I love this. Just as a practical kind of for the audience question, I hate asking this because I would always hate when people would ask me this question. So I'm gonna ask it to you because, you know, watch you writhe in agony and try to figure it out. But how would you describe your music to people that have never heard it?
Music.
I always just tell people indie rock because
I mean, it's pretty spot on.
That is what it is.
That can be interpreted in a whole lot of ways, but I feel like it pretty much encapsulates, especially just like the difference. And like we were talking before we hopped on, or I don't know if it was before we hit record or not, but Christian like writes and records most of the material himself. So like by the time it gets to practice, let alone by the time it gets to the shows, there's a lot of juxtaposition, maybe differences. And I think between recorded material and live presentation, indie rock just kind of puts it up in a nice little ball.
I always tell people it's the hardest worship music you've ever heard.
Okay, that brings up one of my favorite stories about 1402 practice. Is there's a song that Christian hadn't like shared any like links to or like reference to, and we were trying to like bring it together, and Christian was like, here, like, let me play you something. It's kind of like this. And he'd hop off the kick, get back to the guitar, I'd hop back on. And then Joel was just like, just think churchy, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And immediately I was like, cool, I got it. And then we started playing the song, and Christian was like, that's pretty much exactly what I recorded on the drums. And I was like, well, all you had to tell me was church and Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And that's exactly all the context I needed.
So John, Lip, and Christian all kind of grew up in that.
I was going to ask if that's like a shared...
I did not.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to not have to go through that.
Hot take.
You're my favorite.
Shots fired.
Hey, the stories I hear from these guys, they're talking about, what is it, Switchfoot? Like, I don't even know what that is.
What is it, Switchfoot? My guy. Okay. Okay.
Feel
Switchfoot.
seen.
Yeah. Switchfoot.
I'm hearing all this Switchfoot, Bible man. Like, I don't, like, I'm
Swap feet. What is it? I don't.
I can't have us besmirching the holy name of Switchfoot.
I don't know, man. I'm sitting back here like in a completely different world. But yeah, that's just kind of like I'm not in that influence, so it's interesting, just.
Well, since you guys are, I mean, because I was going to ask, like, how, because that's a lot of my background. So when I went to college at good old Malone University in Canton, Ohio, shout out. No one's from there is probably going to listen to this because we've said a couple F-bombs and besmirched Switchfoot. So this episode will be blacklisted for them. But
John and I love Switchfoot. I just want to get that out there.
I do love Switchfoot. I'm not going to, and I love Malone. Shout out Malone. That I majored in youth ministry and I minored in music and like grew up like big time church guy and playing on all the worship teams. And it was always the cliche conversation for us of like, all right, we want to be real musicians. We don't want to be playing on the worship team when we're like 45 or whatever, but I say that to say like those are actually some of my best favorite musical experiences were playing, like doing worship sets or whatever. But I was just curious for those of you that have that influence, like how that plays into what you're doing at all or not.
I need to be quiet.
Yeah.
Tell us about your Switchfoot influence.
I miss your
John.
voice, John. Come back.
Sorry. There's
Don't
some,
apologize.
coffee shop stuff. But it's all figured out now.
He's an important guy. It's all good.
So important. Everyone needs everything from me.
Everyone values John King more than you could possibly
the
know.
best, man.
I'm the valuable man.
John's the greatest.
John is the greatest.
Ever since I've started playing music with 1402 and with Shame Chamber, so many random people from random like corners and bits of my life are like, how do you know John King? And I'm like, back up. How do you know John King? Anyway, John, go ahead.
Yeah. I would say it was a funny thing that we just kind of fell into figuring out because we were just playing at a practice and we started building it. I'm like, this has a very worship sort of feel to it. And it's like, yeah, we all played in worship bands growing up. And a lot of that is dynamics. I think interacting with the audience is huge. Yeah. Just being able to listen to each other is important because like in a worship band, you're playing new songs every week. It's not the same set. So you kind of have to like follow each other's cues, like figure out, when, I used to play in a worship band with my buddy Nate back in the day. And anytime I heard a certain fill or, if he like switched to the ride from the hi-hat, I knew that I needed to like open up what I was doing. And I think we kind of give each other those kind of cues all the time. Like there's some unspoken communication. And I think in a worship band too, there's like an expectation of like, we're not just going to like mumble into the mic and like look down and, look forlorn and not interact with the audience. Like we're going to bring some passion to it, and I think that there is something, if you want to call it spiritual or special about that, like we feel like the gravity of that moment when we're being real with people,
Yeah, all that makes perfect sense.
I mean, I was just going to say, like, I think regardless of how you feel about the church and all that, I am so grateful to have grown up in that environment and learned to play music in that environment. Cause it's one thing to learn how to play your instrument, but it's a different thing to learn how to play it with other people in a song setting. And then two, being at church, you're always like, you're not doing it for you. You're not performing. We're here to praise God. And I think that also kind of helped with my mindset and not being nervous. Because now, I go on stage and obviously I'm not up there praising God, but I'm also not self-conscious about my performing because I'm there to serve a purpose,
Yeah, that's a really great point. I resonate with all that of like, I think of the healthy and positive mentality. Because like, I'm sitting here talking about, I wish I could have done, but like for my personal experience, like the values, because my friends that I played with, we were on a worship team together and started our band otherwise, from our youth group worship team. And just those values, like the positive ones, like really did inform how we wrote our music, tried to interact with each other, tried to interact with fans, tried to like comport ourselves at shows. In general, so just kind of zooming out, like what are some of your individual musical influences, bands, musicians? Like, I'm just always curious about that. Like kind of, I know the list probably can go pretty long, but some of the ones that stick out.
You want to start, Lit?
I mean, aside from Bromodo Dragon, I do have to, as a quick aside, as you think about your musical influences. So I have that Time Hop app that kind of lets you see your past social media posts, which some days is a horrible idea.
Yeah. Sometimes you're signing up for a lot of pain.
Yeah, some days not a great thing to wake up to and look through what I posted 15 years ago or whatever, but nothing crazy, just stuff where I'm like, wow, I was very immature.
I can't believe I said that.
Yeah. But it came up today that 11 years ago today, 2013, you and I just had a rehearsal with Bromodo Dragon for a show at Musica on February 4th, 2013. So Bromodo Dragon was just a random like 3-show little side project we had. It was fun. But so that's not an influence, I'm sure, in what you do now 11 years later. But who are your? Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I don't know, like influence for me, I pull from so many different things, like not even just musically. Like I was completely distracted by a jewelry shop in the corner and everyone's like, we gotta go, we have a podcast. And I was like, but the necklaces. So like any art and like life will always inspire me, but like specific musical influences, I kind of varied project to project just so I can kind of serve the music in the like best possible way that I can see fit. Or if I see it fit and someone's like, hey, can you not do that ever again? Kind of like recollect from there, But so like as far as drums for me, this band from Philly, who's super active and doing super awesome. I love all of them. They're super nice people. They're called Sweet Pill. My friend Chris, who drums for them, he's so insane at drumming. He's incredible. And there's like, in one of our songs, I like completely ripped off like a minute and like 10 seconds of like his drum beat and just like copy pasted it into one of our songs. A huge influence for me is a guy named Joe Vanucci, who has a project called From Indian Lakes. He records all the drums and like pretty much everything on all those records. And those are just like, even outside of this band, like hugely inspirational. I draw from them like all the time. There's a bunch of tricks from like their one record, Able Bodies, that I pretty much plug into every song as much as I can. And then another influence that just like drums, guitar, vocals, poetry, lyrics, this, that, the other, aesthetics. Me Without You has been like a huge influence on me.
Now you're speaking my language from 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, if I could go on and on and on, you'd say that probably about 100 more times. But yeah, just Ricky and all the dudes in that band are just so good at what they do. And I wasn't able to see them live, but I'm grateful for all the people in my life who have been like, oh, you should listen to this. I was like, okay. My old babysitter, Christy, was like, you need to listen to A to B Life. It'll change you as a person. And I was like, okay. And like, I got on YouTube and I listened to it and I was like, I'm a different person now, and then like the guy who taught me how to play drums, I played on worship teams with him growing up. He's a super cool dude. He's a video game designer now. Shout out Jared Huntley. He was like, you have to listen to 10 Stories. Me Without You. And I was like, okay, I think I've heard of that. But if you listen to it, it was just like, constantly being told by people to listen to this band, check out new albums and stuff. Super, super, super huge influence and like love of my life is that band. And I could go on and on. So we'll just call it those three for now, especially because I just draw so specifically from all those drumming styles. And drumming is what I do in 1402. So definitely Sweet Pill.
That's why you're my favorite. I don't play favorites, but that's what. Well, but I said that about Joel, so, and I've said that about John. I'm Price. Wow. All right. Well, we've uncovered a sad truth here on the Easter Pod that I just placate people and tell them they're my favorite, and you say that's everybody. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and listen to every single episode, and I swear, if you tell anyone else that they're your favorite...
All right.
Whoops. Well, first of all, yes, thank you for listening to every episode. That's great. Even if you're hate listening...
I'm going to do it just out of spite.
Even if you're trying to catch me in a lie, like, that's great. It really helps the show.
Top 3 influences. Currently, my favorite bands are Agent Fresco. They are amazing. So good. They're from Iceland. Highly recommend them. The Killers. I love the Killers. They've been with me since, high school. And then more recently, the Cavemen. I've been really getting into them heavy from Nigeria. So yeah, those are my 3 right now.
I accidentally put a cap on our influence.
It's nice. That kind of narrows it down.
I kind of put music into 2 very, very general categories, like the emotional, like, connection, like, hear their story. It's like a diary entry. And then there's also the kind of music where it's just you want to headbang or dance to. Yeah. Kind of grew up in both of those worlds. My mom was a dance teacher, and she had me go through classes. So I did, like, ballet, tap, and jazz. And so, like, dancing to Madonna, like, why not?
Absolutely. So, I'm learning so much about Joel today.
Not a dancer these days anymore. That's long gone. But grew up in like the whole diva, like Lady Gaga, like ABBA, Madonna, like all of that stuff. But at the same time, my parents, they grew up as teenagers in the 90s, so they carry that very hard.
Are they that young?
They had me.
I mean, my parents are that young too.
They had me at
9-inch nails.
Yeah, like late 80s, early 90s. They were roughly teenagers, so they carried like Green Day, Nirvana, like Smashing Pumpkins, like all that stuff. And still, being a kid growing up in the 2000s, like Foo Fighters, Queens of the Stone Age, like all that classic stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of hard rock kind of influence there, just varied. Like pretty much everything you would know in that time span. But since then, it's just kind of like evolved. I've been going like deeper into that time period, just kind of seeing what I missed out as a kid. So like, I don't know, just going back to like Death from Above 1979 or Tribe Called Quest. Like there's I like a lot of like the older, like it sounds corny, but like I like the old rap. But
They don't make
I don't know, like it sounds corny, but like I don't listen to a ton of rap. Like it's mostly just like Tribe Called Quest. Like that's kind of it. All right.
And just like that, 1402 became the most problematic episode of the podcast.
Thanks, Joel.
I just haven't like expanded through that music yet. I want to. But yeah. Like these days, there's a newer band. They're a noise rock band from Canada. It's called Tunic. They're pretty much like anytime I'm like frustrated or just like you just have to listen to it. It's just like there's no like structure, if that makes sense. Like they're very talented musicians, they're very tight with each other, but like it's just noise in a very punky fashion, and it's amazing. So that's what I got.
Yeah, this question's so cool because it kind of gives you a glimpse into somebody, and I've been with music since day one. So if I were to try to answer this question succinctly, I feel like it would take another podcast to kind of like that's where my mind goes. Is like,
Yeah.
this is such a huge question.
Well, let me ask you this then, since we're talking about musical influences. One of my influences in recent years has been Shame Chamber. So I would be remiss before we stopped podding together if I didn't get a chance to ask you, John. Will you take us into the Shame Chamber and tell us about that project?
Yeah, that's good. That helps me focus a little bit. Shame Chamber was definitely a response to kind of going back into the world of music. Like, I went to a show for the first time in a while back in 2019. My wife and I had started a coffee shop, and that had kind of consumed our lives for a long time. And that was kind of the focus for a while. Like, in the late 10s was just getting her coffee shop rolling. And yeah, like, it was just on some random night. There was a band I'd heard of called Dive, and I really wanted to see them live. So I went and saw them at this old room called the Fantasy in Cleveland. And there was a band called...
Was that PH Fantasy?
Yeah.
I played
Crazy.
R.I.P.
I played at that club.
With the pirate
Fantasy
ship.
nightclub, yeah. I did a show there. That's all. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where I saw Dive. Chastity opened for them, and they were incredible. They brought a real showmanship to the show. And I just remember watching Chastity and being like, oh man, this genre I haven't really thought about, shoegaze. It sounds so huge live, and it makes me want to move. I'm just lost in the music. And I think that's when I decided to start Shame Chamber. And right around that time I decided to do that, the pandemic happened. And that was a really scary time for me in a lot of ways. Like, had the coffee shop, and that was going to be a rough situation with the pandemic, and it was. Had just had our son Lewis, so we had an infant at home during the pandemic, and it was just a dark time in a lot of ways for me. Really depressing. Like, yeah, not having a lot of info, and like sometimes like we would isolate from each other, like especially for the baby. And yeah, I was really in a really rough spot, and kind of finding solace in the music, like being able to go into my closet, which is the affectionately termed Shame Chamber, just this ratty ass closet. Got my computer in there, my guitar, and I would just play for hours, and a lot of it was just like mumbling into a microphone, because I just didn't really have the words to describe how I was feeling. Just sort of like had a sound in mind, something different than I had done before. And I would listen to just these takes. I would do hours of just saying random stuff into the microphone, or just sounds. And if I heard words and they like had meaning to me, that would become like the lyrics, kind of like a more primitive approach to lyrics. But it really resonated with me. The whole shoegaze scene really reinvigorated my love of music, and also the hardcore scene too. Like, that was kind of something I encountered in Akron, like going to house shows and some of the bands that Joel and Christian have showed me. There's like Show Me the Body. It's just like, that really lit a fire big time.
Show Me the Body.
Yeah. Hotline TNT, the new record, that really made me want to get back in the studio. But Shame has a lot of influences, and I try to like meld them. Like, I'm not trying to sound like one band. I just want it to be a very heavy and like a very engaging interaction. Like, just when you see Shame Chamber, it's like, it's not all negative. There might be some elements to it that feel uplifting, but it's definitely a project for me to like air out the grievances and let out the wild side, as much of that is left in me, like to play really, really loud.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And it's been so cool to check out like Shame Chamber, 1402, like all the stuff that you guys collectively have been creating has been really awesome to consume. You've mentioned it a few times, so I also would be remiss if I didn't ask about the coffee shop. So I'm sporting a Walkie Talkie shirt because I'm a goober, and I have a Walkie Talkie sticker on my laptop. I have
They have amazing merch.
Amazing
though.
merch.
Like I have so much. I have walkie-talkie merch too. Yeah, we.
But when you guys got up this morning, because I'm a goober also, I was like, let me set out all these walkie-talkie coffee
I noticed
mugs
that. Yeah,
I have, so that they all feel seen. But yeah, I've told a lot of people in Charlotte about you guys about walkie-talkie. So I was wondering if you could just give a couple minutes on like what that is and what it's all about.
Yeah. So it gets simpler and simpler as time rolls on, which is awesome. Like we're just realizing more and more that Walkie Talkie is my wife, Lindsay. It's just an expression of who she is. It's her dream. She made coffee in Canton for over a decade and created all these recipes that shops today use. And it just didn't, to bring justice to Canton, it just meant that Lindsay had to have her own shop and do it, the best that she could. Like Canton deserved that. She deserved that. I'm honored that I got to help her found the company. I got to help her think of like how to set up the cafe and like the name and, but yeah, Walkie Talkie is definitely an expression of her. She's very creative and positive and inviting and welcoming. So that's like how you feel when you walk into the shop. And
100%.
so like all the merch, that's like a lot of her ideas. Like she comes up with like the drinks and the concepts and the colors, and it's just a huge expression of who she is. I would be lying if I'd say it's just been easy this whole time. It's actually been one of the hardest things I've ever done, but the most worth it. And weathering the pandemic, recovering from that, doing something on our own terms, and actually going against the grain, like really focusing on the staff. Like Lindsay's made some decisions with staffing and compensation that kind of go against the grain and really take care of people. And I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of like the fact that we haven't had anybody quit. Like everybody's just stuck around and they're really still in Lindsay's corner and believe in Lindsay. So yeah, it's weird to say because I'm heavily involved in it, but I do think Walkie Talkie is one of the best coffee shops ever. Like I'm also a fan.
Yeah.
Like I think that she's done something incredible, and yeah.
The Instagram
Ride or die.
alone is like the most adorable Instagram page
Oh,
you'll
yeah.
ever see. Like it's
You just
amazing.
get lost for hours on that. Like I remember like one of my first practices with 1402. And I was like, sorry, I'm late. Like there was a situation at the shop, and I was like, oh, what shop? Like you work like somewhere doing like, I don't even remember what I said. He's like, my wife owns a coffee shop, and like I just had to deal with X situation. I was like, you own a coffee shop? He's like, no, my wife owns a coffee shop. He's like, always been, that's something I really appreciate about John is like, he will absolutely make sure credit gets where it's due. Like I've, just being at shows, interacting with like people he knows, or like people like walking up to us being like, oh, like you own Walkie Talkie? He's like, no, my wife Lindsay owns Walkie Talkie. It's her coffee shop. I just work there. Like I've just always appreciated that about him.
They see
And,
me
like-
there, and that's just an assumption.
Yeah.
But also, it's a gender thing, right? Because
Yeah.
like if I had started it, I don't think people would be going up to Lindsay saying, "Oh, are you the owner of this?" Like,
Yep.
there's just a societal expectation that
Yeah.
the man's involved, they own it, right?
Yeah.
And like, I would be lying though. I would
Yeah.
be totally misrepresenting my role. Like, this was her business plan. She wrote the whole business plan.
Yep.
And two,
Like,
everything about that shop is so beautiful and inviting and thought out, and just like there's so much level of care into it. There's no way a man owns that.
no, exactly. It is so.
I haven't-
There's no way.
I haven't been there, but I'm constantly looking at all their posts, sharing it with people, telling people to go there. And I just like, I remember the first time I met Lindsay was at like a friend's like wedding celebration. They had done like a small elopement, and they just like wanted everyone to get together for like pizza and drinks at this place in Akron. And I see John walk in, and I obviously got so super excited. I politely ended my conversation, went over to go say hi to John, and he was like, "Oh, this is my wife, Lindsay." And I was like, "Dude, I'm just so happy to meet you." And like, John has said so many great things about you. And she was just so kind, and she like immediately flipped the conversation on me, like asking about like things about my life that John had shared or like heard about or like seen like on like the internet, and just was like so curious and like intently caring about me. And she had just met me, and maybe had seen me at like, she's come to some Shame Chamber shows I've been at, whether I was a part of them or not. I think some of your family were at the 1402 show, the Glassbone show.
At the Glassbone show, probably they were at our first show of the tour. That was like the whole fam minus the toddlers. So.
Yeah, but no, she was just like super, like one of the coolest, most genuine and caring people I've ever met, and just like everything I have seen passively on the internet about that like exudes and bleeds from Walkie Talkie was just encapsulated like in this person
right there.
And it like the colors, like the personality, like the open like invitingness to it it's just Lindsay like put into like a physical existence that is Walkie Talkie, and I just think it's beautiful.
If it was my coffee shop, it'd just be like in an abandoned building, like dark.
The shame chamber.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd feel like the shame chamber.
Yeah, 100%. And the fact that I'm on this tour, I would say, is a testament to Lindsay's grace and amazingness.
It's just one red spotlight, and it's just
You order in the spotlight. You shamefully order here,
and then you go stand in the dark with your latte. I don't have a whole lot to add to that because you guys perfectly encapsulated so much about Walkie Talkie and about Lindsay and everything I love about it. Except all I can say is that Walkie Talkie is bar none it's on the Mount Rushmore of coffee shops for me. It's one of my favorite coffee shops I've ever been to, and even though I'm friends with you and Lindsay, like I would feel that way regardless. It's just an amazing what's been created, and Lindsay is one of my favorite people ever, and I know Megan would echo that, and I think those are shared sentiments by a lot of folks, as you also beautifully described about Lindsay and Walkie Talkie and her vision for that and everything that's come from that. It's been so incredible to watch it from the start and just blossom into this like hugely positive thing for the community and everybody whose lives it touches.
I love too that, like she wanted it to be in a house originally. So having it be like a place that just people could feel at home, and we ended up doing it in a garage, but it's like in a neighborhood. So her bringing more walkability to Canton has just been something I've really been proud of, and just, improving the quality of life. So
yeah, and I'm so old. I remember taking my car when it got totaled to that body shop where that used to be where Walkie Talkie is now. So thank you. I am the old guy. All right. Yeah, literally totaled my car freshman year of college. Accident that was totally my fault. Had to take it to that body shop that was right there in Canton. So that is now Walkie Talkie. So there you go. All right. So we got about 10 minutes left, and I have 2 more questions for you guys as we wrap up. So I wanted to go around before we wrap up, one piece of advice or encouragement that each of you has for somebody that's kind of looking to do what you're doing now, whether, from a band perspective or individual musician, whatever.
I'll start.
Cool.
Because I'm the old man.
You're
of
not
this band. I am
None of you are
almost a decade beyond all of you. So
I feel
I'm the
it,
dad.
brother.
for the reason,
I'm the dad.
I feel
John is a big reason this tour kind of landed the way that it did, with places to stay, and like I think some of the shows that like we've landed, like I don't think we would have been able to like even meet you and let you allowed us to stay at your place like last night and tonight. Like it's been a lot of the weight's been kind of put on John. I'm sorry. I wish I was more involved in like the planning of this tour.
Yeah.
Listen, that's been my experience, how it goes in a band. There's always 1 or 2 guys that do it. I'm okay. Everybody, you spread the work. You spread the work.
No, what Joel means to say is we were practicing like pretty much every Monday since I joined the band. But we practiced one Monday and someone posed the question of like, do we have places to stay? And we were all like, none of us have thought about that. And we were all like, we can kind of hit up friends. A week later, the next Monday, we're getting together to like just play the set. It was like me or Christian, like, has anyone like heard back from everyone? And John was like, it's all taken care of. I've got it played now.
I was like, wow.
It's the benefit of having great friends.
So the advice is be prepared. What else?
Yeah. I would say, I've had a lot of just time in this, and maybe things like bands break up. That's a thing that happens, and that's not the end of it. It feels shitty. Like, definitely work through that and talk about that with people, but don't burn bridges. Be courteous. Don't assume that you can use the band's equipment, that's on tour. I would say too, like, there's a lot of musicians just starting out that are telling me what their goals are, and I think they kind of like aim so high that they get discouraged when those things don't line up, or it's not their job, or, how do I play at a venue? And, I don't know. It's, to me, it's like there are ways to do music no matter what your job is or your situation. Like, there's avenues. And I think adjusting your expectations, being open, to like who's there or what the opportunities are. And I think too, this is huge. This is great advice from Kevin Embleton, like one of my close friends that I've written a lot of music with. He's gotten into a lot more co-writing, which I enjoy so much. I love writing songs with other people. Is the improv rule, the yes and of creativity. That is huge. I would say to young people, if you want to make music, it's going to look different than you think. Like, it's going to be a mix of whoever you're with. So learn how to not say no to someone's idea, even if you don't like it. Like, learn how to be like, that's so cool. What if we add a little bit of my spice to that idea? Yes, that. And like, that just keeps a song rolling because everybody's involved at that point. Like, learn how to just, if you're doing a creative thing with people and improving, get rid of the word no, during that creative time. Like, when it's time to like whittle it down, like tour prep, we can say like, oh, let's tighten that up. Let's not do that. But when you're in a band and you're just starting out, learn how to just say like, yes, dude, yes, let's do that. And let's do that. What do you think of this? And that, I guarantee if you start doing that, even outside of music, people are going to say yes to your ideas a lot more too.
Yeah, pretty much just add to what John was saying, like strong boundaries, but balanced expectations, just not to like promote my stuff or whatever, but like Christian and I have another band called Cult Kids, and I just kind of let him take over the drum realm of that like creative process, because not only do I feel more strongly about Christian's drumming capabilities than my own, but like you know the song better when you're involved in creating that type of song, whatever 100%. It may be. And so yeah, like you can learn other people's parts, and like the primary like songwriter may be like, let's go for this kind of vibe, but if you're putting yourself into it, you're gonna have I don't know, it's just an easier, like, overall better time, I think. And I don't know, it's just, yeah, like, you can write a song the way that you're gonna, like you said, like, when you get other people involved, it's gonna change. And
yes.
And when we play all of these songs live, they're different. And Christian is a very talented songwriter. He knows absolutely what he wants and expects when he writes and records his music.
Can play every part.
But he's not gonna, multiple times he's been like, this doesn't have to be the way it's recorded. And I think that's why it's kind of just allowed all of us to feel very good. Like, but we're still very much like Christian is just the right way to do it. But like, it's just it is a good time when like you can just insert yourself a little bit into something.
Christian's great at that.
Yeah.
Considering myself.
Of letting people do their thing in your songs. You're one of the most open songwriters I've encountered.
I appreciate that. I would say, like, specifically as a piece of advice, for songwriters, you get your ideas out there, record them, whatever. You have that. But then, if you're going to play with other people, recognize that everybody you play with is going to have different influences and different tendencies, and they're going to play different fills and different scales and stuff like that. And yeah, work to people's strengths, you know. And I guess that again goes back to what you're saying. Yes, and you know, work around their strengths. Don't try to force anyone into, you know, filling a role that they're not built for. Yeah.
I just want to say I agree and fully back everything everyone said. Like, just great sound advice I've gotten, if not from these people, from other people in my walk and my journey.
I caught that.
Inside joke, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm on a journey.
Do yourself a favor and look up Boompa Yo on streaming.
Inside joke, huh? I'd love to be a part of one of those someday.
It's an incredible,
Be our outro music.
incredible songwriter, Boompa Yo.
Boompa yo.
Edit that out later.
Your life will be better.
I was quoting I have lots of friends in inside jokes. I was just quoting The Office. I was just quoting Michael Scott.
See, I thought that's what that was.
Spirit animal.
I don't know. My piece of advice, I just want to kind of go back on some things we've already said and just like be present, be grateful. Like, no one likes a stuck up dude. No one likes a pretentious a-hole. No one likes someone who thinks highly of themselves. I don't care what context you're talking about. It's just not a good vibe. And I'm not even saying like you have to be the most humble version of yourself. You have to be like, no, I'm just saying be present, be grateful.
Why did the Trump voice come
I am the humblest podcast host.
See, I'm just saying I'm the most humble president of the United States that anyone has ever.
I would say indie rock, you know, the 90s, all through the grunge movement.
I've been doing that voice a lot this tour. It's just what came out. Okay, I'm sorry. No, just like John was saying, like all of us, whether or not we all go into like our own little hide corners or our shame chambers of whatever venue we're at, like we watch all, if not almost all, the opening bands, you know, like just be present, be kind, be active. If you're making fun of my hand gestures, I swear.
No, I'll tell you after.
Almost.
Because like
Almost.
I don't know. Like for me, like there's nothing worse than like someone remembering you and a show you played and you having no idea what they're talking about. Just like I said, like I feel lucky, I feel grateful to like be able to do this. And like when other people have that energy, it's just very refreshing and very reassuring. And you know, we're all working hard in our own ways. We all have our own battles we're fighting, and like you don't know what sacrifices everyone's making to be at a show, whether it's a tour or not, local, you know. Yeah, just be present and be grateful. Don't be a dick.
Don't be
basically.
All great advice for being in a band, being musicians, and in life in general, for sure. I appreciate you guys sharing that. Where can people follow, get connected, support the work, find out about upcoming shows? Feel free, you know, the band, individual, whatever you guys want to promote. This is your time to promote. I give the floor to you, my good sirs.
Other projects to promote.
Yeah, I'll just plug real quick Shame Chamber that we were talking about. It's Shame Chamber Music on Instagram, Shame Chamber Band at Gmail if you want to ask about booking. Yeah. Walkie Talkie Coffee on the socials as well. Come visit us in Canton, Ohio.
I briefly mentioned Cult Kids. It's like a hard rock band, basically. I'm trying to get John and Lip influenced, and let's have a third band together.
Why not? Why not?
But yeah, right now it's kind of like it was on like a hiatus, so I'm trying to bring that back in, and then I have like a solo thing called The Guy Who Does Nothing.
Good music.
That's more like electronic based and just kind of weird. That's about it. The Guy Who Does Nothing music on Instagram or Twitter, maybe. I forget the Twitter handles. something different. I forget. Cult Kids Band on Instagram and Facebook, also Twitter. That's about it.
You go first.
Well, yeah, I mean, the voices that you've been listening to today are that comprises 1402. You can find us at 1402 Band. That's 1402.
I'm involved in too many projects for what little time we have left. But
Name them.
I want to shout out, like, I've been lucky enough to fill in on drums for Shame Chamber. It's been awesome. We've obviously plugged that. Being in 1402 has been an awesome experience. I'm in a band that's been active for a few years. We have a bunch of songs out on Spotify, some stuff on Vimeo and things like that. We're called Orifice Roth. I'm pretty sure our Instagram is orifice_Roth. We post a lot of memes, if that's your thing. We're kind of on just like a rest right now. We've been really busy and just like overly active almost to a point. So you won't be seeing a lot from us, but maybe in the summer. But yeah, I've been writing with them for years and it's been a lot of fun. That's actually how I met 1402. So that's been exciting. And yeah, sometimes I play solo shows, like my own songwriting, and something I've been wanting to do before I play another show is like I've been learning 1402 songs. I've been trying to learn a Shame Chamber song because I don't have a whole lot of songs, and instead of playing covers, I just want to like play songs from the bands I play in and things like that. So like there's Orifice Raw songs I play by myself and things like that. And you can find me, I'm lip.the drummer. That's where you can find me and all my various cohorts and cahoots on Instagram and whatnot.
Lip, Christian, Joel, John King. I just say your full name.
Everybody does.
It's better. It's better.
Everybody does.
So good.
Thank you guys. This was incredible. This was better than I could have ever hoped for or expected. This was
Thank you for
awesome.
having us.
Such a good time chatting with you guys and getting to hear your perspectives on everything and the advice you share and talking about the music. I'm very bummed out that I can't attend the show tonight, actually. I already had tickets to see Joseph at Neighborhood Theater, so my bad. But I'm sure it'll be a great show. It's been great to get to know you guys. Awesome to have you on the pod. I'm glad you're staying with us. I'm glad we could hang out and spend this time together in our own little shame chamber. Yeah. So,
my dad is seeing Madonna tomorrow, so I'm gonna blame all. I'm gonna blame all of you guys because I could have done that.
You could have seen Madonna instead of playing your own band.
Wow.
But I decided to go on this stupid tour.
Whoa.
Wow.
Shots fired.
All right.
This tour's been great.
It's a great way to close the pod. No, thank you. Just thank you guys so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Goodbye.